I smoothed my dress for the 100th time, taking a deep breath as Ben's hand squeezed mine reassuringly. The imposing oak door loomed before us, a barrier between me and my future in-laws. This was it, the moment of truth. "Ready, sweetheart?" Ben's warm smile melted away some of my anxiety. I nodded, mustering a confident grin. "As I'll ever be." The door swung open, revealing a tall, distinguished man with Ben's kind eyes. "There you are," he exclaimed, pulling Ben into a bear hug. "And you must be Nora. Welcome, my dear." "Thank you, Mr. Harrison," I said, accepting his firm handshake. "Please call me Alan. Come in, come in. Patricia's been fussing all morning." We stepped into a pristine foyer that could have graced the pages of a home decor magazine. Everything was immaculate, from the polished hardwood floors to the crystal chandelier overhead. "Benjamin!" A sharp voice cut through the air. I turned to see a woman descending the staircase, her silver hair perfectly coiffed, her posture ramrod straight. This had to be Patricia. "Hello, Mother," Ben said, his voice tightening almost imperceptibly. Patricia's eyes swept over me, assessing. "So this is Nora." I extended my hand. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Harrison." She barely touched my fingers before withdrawing. "Charmed, I'm sure. Well, don't just stand there. Let's move to the sitting room. I've prepared tea." As we followed her, I caught Ben's apologetic glance. I gave him a small smile, determined not to let his mother's chilly reception dampen my spirits. The sitting room was as immaculate as the foyer, with delicate china teacups already set out. We settled onto the plush sofas, the silence thick with unspoken expectations. "So, Nora," Patricia began, her voice syrupy sweet, "Ben tells us you're from, where was it again? Ohio?" "Indiana, actually," I corrected gently. "A small town outside of Indianapolis." "Ah, yes. How quaint." The way she said it made it sound like anything but. "And what is it you do, dear?" "I'm a pediatric nurse," I replied, my chin lifting slightly. "I've been working at Children's Hospital for the past 5 years. Patricia's eyebrows arched. "A nurse? How noble. Though I always thought Benjamin would end up with someone more ambitious. Perhaps a doctor?" "Mother," Ben warned, his jaw clenching. Alan cleared his throat. "I think it's wonderful, Nora. The world needs more caring people like you." I smiled gratefully at him. "Thank you, Alan." Yes, yes, very admirable." Patricia waved her hand dismissively. "Now, Benjamin, have you given any more thought to joining your father's firm? A man in your position should be thinking about his future, especially with a wife to support." Ben's hand found mine, squeezing gently. "Actually, Mother, Nora and I are quite happy with our current careers. We support each other equally." Patricia's lips pursed as if she'd tasted something sour. "I see. Well, I suppose times are changing. Speaking of change, did you hear about Sarah?" The sudden shift in topic caught me off guard. I'd heard Ben mention his older sister, but I hadn't met her yet. "What about Sarah?" Ben asked, wariness creeping into his voice. Patricia leaned forward, her eyes glittering with barely concealed glee. "Well, it seems that her marriage to Mark has finally fallen apart. I always said he wasn't good enough for her." Alan shifted uncomfortably. "Patricia, perhaps this isn't the time." "Nonsense, Alan. Families should know these things." She turned back to us. It's such a shame, but then again, Sarah always did make questionable choices." The undercurrent of malice in Patricia's voice sent a chill down my spine. I glanced at Ben, seeing the tension in his jaw, the way his fingers gripped his teacup a little too tightly. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said carefully. "Is Sarah okay?" Patricia's gaze snapped to me, sharp and assessing. "Oh, I'm sure she'll manage. She always does, doesn't she, Benjamin? Though perhaps if she'd listened to me in the first place." As Patricia launched into what was clearly a well-rehearsed critique of her daughter's life choices, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just stepped into a minefield. What exactly had happened between Sarah and Mark? And why did I have the sinking feeling that Patricia had played a larger role in their divorce than she was letting on? The cafe bustled with the midday lunch crowd, but I barely noticed the noise. My mind was still reeling from the previous day's encounter with Patricia. I stirred my latte absently, waiting for Sarah to arrive. A tall, slender woman with Ben's warm eyes rushed in, her blonde hair wind-swept. "Nora, I'm so sorry I'm late." I stood, smiling. "Sarah, it's great to finally meet you." We hugged, and I immediately felt a kinship with Ben's sister. As we settled into our seats, Sarah's expression turned apologetic. "I heard about yesterday." I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. I waved off her concern. It wasn't your fault, but I have to admit, I'm curious about what happened with Mark. Your mother seemed almost gleeful about your divorce. Sarah's face darkened. Of course she was. She orchestrated the whole thing. My jaw dropped. What? Sarah leaned in, lowering her voice. Mom never approved of Mark. He wasn't from the right background, you see. She spent years trying to drive us apart. That's terrible. I gasped. What did she do? Little things at first, backhanded compliments, accidentally excluding him from family events, but then she started spreading rumors. Sarah's voice cracked. She told our entire social circle that Mark was cheating on me. I felt a chill run down my spine. Was he? Sarah shook her head vehemently. No, never. But the damage was done. Our friends, even some of Mark's colleagues, everyone looked at us differently. The constant suspicion, the whispers, it tore us apart. My mind raced, connecting the dots. And yesterday, when she brought it up, she was gloating, Sarah finished bitterly, and probably warning you. Warning me? I echoed, confused. Sarah reached across the table, gripping my hand. Nora, you need to be careful. Mom sees you as an outsider, just like Mark. She'll try to push you out, too. My stomach churned. But why? Ben and I love each other. We're happy. That doesn't matter to her, Sarah said, shaking her head. In her mind, Ben deserves someone from our world, old money, social connections. She won't stop until she gets her way. I straightened my spine, anger replacing my initial shock. Well, she's in for a fight. I'm not going anywhere. Sarah smiled sadly. I admire your spirit, but don't underestimate her. She's relentless. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Ben. Mom's insisting on hosting an engagement party next week. I tried to talk her out of it, but she won't budge. I'm so sorry, love. I showed Sarah the message, watching her face pale. Oh, Nora, this is how it starts. What do you mean? The engagement party? It's not for you. It's for her to parade Ben in front of all her society friends' daughters. Sarah's voice was grim. She did the same thing to Mark and me. My head spun. But surely Ben wouldn't. Of course not, Sarah assured me quickly. Ben adores you. But Mom will use every trick in the book to make you look bad and push you away. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Then I'll just have to be prepared. Sarah squeezed my hand. I'll help you. We'll face her together. As we left the cafe, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was Patricia herself. Nora, dear, I do hope you have something suitable to wear for the engagement party. Perhaps we should go shopping? I know the most darling boutique. I stared at the message, my jaw clenching. The seemingly innocent offer was loaded with implications, that I wasn't good enough, that I needed her help to fit in. What is it? Sarah asked, noticing my expression. I showed her the text. It's starting, isn't it? Sarah nodded grimly. Welcome to the battlefield, Nora. Are you ready? I lifted my chin, a fire of determination burning in my chest. Bring it on! The bridal boutique was a sea of white lace and tulle, but I felt anything but serene. Patricia's voice grated on my nerves as she flitted from rack to rack, pulling out gowns that were more suited to her taste than mine. Oh, Nora, darling, she cooed, holding up a monstrosity of ruffles and beads. This would be perfect for you. It'll hide all those problem areas. I gritted my teeth, forcing a smile. Thank you, Patricia, but I was thinking of something simpler. She skipped, shaking her head. But, dear, this is your big day. You want to look like a princess, don't you? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Ben. How's it going? Do you need a rescue? I smiled, typing back quickly. Not yet, but stay on standby. Nora? Patricia's sharp voice cut through my moment of relief. Who are you texting? It's rude to be on your phone when we're shopping for your wedding dress. I pocketed my phone, suppressing a sigh. Sorry, Patricia. It was just Ben checking in. Her eyes narrowed. Benjamin knows better than to interrupt important wedding preparations. I'll have to have a word with him about that. Alarm bells rang in my head. That's really not necessary. Nonsense, she waved me off. Now let's try on this lovely gown, shall we? An hour and several uncomfortable fittings later, I emerged from the dressing room in yet another dress I hated. Patricia clapped her hands in delight. Oh, it's perfect, she exclaimed. You almost look like you belong in our world. The backhanded compliment stung, but I held my tongue. Just then the boutique door chimed, and Sarah walked in, looking like a breath of fresh air. Sarah! I called out, relief flooding through me. What are you doing here? I thought you might need some backup, she said with a wink before turning to her mother. Hi, Mom. I hope you don't mind me crashing your shopping trip. Patricia's smile turned brittle. Sarah, dear, how unexpected. I thought you were busy with work today. I rearranged some things, Sarah said smoothly. She turned to me, her eyes widening in mock horror at the dress. Oh, Nora, that's not you at all, is it? I shook my head, grateful for the lifeline. Not really, no. Not. Sarah linked her arm through mine. Come on, let's find something that actually suits you. As we moved away from Patricia, I whispered, Thank you. I was about to lose my mind. Sarah squeezed my arm. I've been there. Don't let her bully you into something you don't want. We spent the next hour finding dresses that actually matched my style. Simple, elegant, and nothing like the overblown creations Patricia favored. When I finally stepped out in a sleek, off-the-shoulder gown, Sarah gasped, Nora, you look stunning, she said, her eyes misting over. I turned to the mirror, my breath catching. For the first time that day, I felt like a bride. Patricia's lips were pressed into a thin line. Well, it's different, but don't you think it's a bit plain for a Harrison wedding? I think it's perfect, a deep voice said from behind us. We all turned to see Ben standing in the doorway, his eyes locked on me with a look of pure adoration. Benjamin! Patricia sputtered. What are you doing here? It's bad luck to see the bride in her dress before the wedding. Ben ignored her, crossing the room to take my hands in his. You look beautiful, Nora. This is the one, isn't it? I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. Then this is the dress you'll wear, he said firmly, before turning to face his mother. And, Mom, I think it's time we had a talk about your behavior. This wedding is about Nora and me, not your social aspirations. Patricia's face flushed an angry red. Benjamin, how dare you speak to me like that? I'm only trying to help. No, Mom, Ben cut her off. You're trying to control, just like you always do, and it stops now. As Ben led Patricia away for a private conversation, I exchanged a look with Sarah. The battle lines had been drawn, and for the first time, I felt like we might actually win this war. The aroma of roasting chicken filled our apartment as I put the finishing touches on the table setting. This dinner party was my chance to show Patricia that I could be the perfect hostess, despite my quaint Midwest upbringing. Everything looks amazing, Nora, Ben said, wrapping his arms around me from behind. You've outdone yourself. I leaned into his embrace, savoring the moment of calm before the storm. I just hope your mother appreciates it. The doorbell rang, shattering our peace. Ben squeezed my hand reassuringly before going to answer it. Patricia swept in, her critical gaze taking in every detail of our home. Well, isn't this cozy, she said, her tone making it clear that cozy was not a compliment. Alan followed, offering me a warm smile and a bottle of wine. The place looks lovely, Nora. As we settled around the dining table, I could feel Patricia's eyes on me, watching my every move. I took a deep breath and began serving the meal I'd spent hours preparing. So, Nora, Patricia began, her voice syrupy sweet, tell me about your family's traditions. I'm sure they must be so interesting. I smiled, determined not to let her get under my skin. Well, we have a lot of wonderful traditions. Every summer, we— Oh, how quaint, Patricia interrupted, not even trying to hide her condescension. I suppose that's what people do when they don't have access to more refined pastimes. Ben's fork clattered against his plate. Mother, that's enough. But Patricia was on a roll. I'm just trying to understand Nora's background, dear. After all, she'll need to learn how things are done in our circles if she's going to be a proper wife for you. My cheeks burned with a mix of anger and humiliation. I assure you, Patricia, I'm quite capable of adapting to new situations. Of course you are, dear, she patted my hand patronizingly. But there's so much you don't know. The social obligations, the charity galas, the proper way to address people of certain standing. It's a lot to learn for someone from your background. Mom, stop it, Ben growled, his patience clearly wearing thin. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. I appreciate your concern, Patricia, but I'm confident in my ability to navigate any social situation. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Really? Then perhaps you can explain the proper way to address a duchess at a formal event, or which fork to use for the fish course at a state dinner. That's irrelevant, Ben interjected. Nora doesn't need to know any of that. Oh, but she does, Patricia insisted. That unless you plan on embarrassing the family at every turn. Something inside me snapped. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. Enough, Patricia. I may not know which fork to use for fish, but I do know how to treat people with kindness and respect, something you seem to have forgotten. The room fell silent. Alan looked uncomfortable, while Ben stared at me with a mix of surprise and pride. Patricia's face flushed an angry red. How dare you speak to me like that, Benjamin? Are you going to let her disrespect me in this way? To my shock, Ben stood up and came to stand beside me. Actually, Mother, I think Nora's right. Your behavior tonight has been appalling. Patricia's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. I was only trying to help. No, you weren't, Ben said firmly. You were trying to belittle and intimidate Nora, and I won't stand for it anymore. Alan finally spoke up, his voice quiet but firm. Patricia, I think it's time we left. As Ben showed his parents out, I sank back into my chair, my hands shaking. What had I done? I'd just confronted my future mother-in-law, potentially ruining any chance of a peaceful family dynamic. Ben returned, kneeling beside me. Nora, I'm so sorry. I should have put a stop to her behavior long ago. I looked into his eyes, seeing nothing but love and support. What do we do now, Ben? I don't think I can keep pretending everything's okay. He took my hands in his expression serious. We don't. It's time we set some boundaries with my parents, even if it means distancing ourselves from them. My heart raced at the implications of his words. Are you sure? That's a big step. Ben nodded, his jaw set with determination. I'm sure. You're my family now, Nora, and I won't let anyone, not even my mother, treat you this way. As we held each other, I realized we were at a crossroads. The decision we made now would shape our future and our relationship with Ben's family forever. But looking into Ben's eyes, I knew that whatever came next, we'd face it together. The tension in the room was palpable as I sat between my parents and Ben, facing Patricia and Alan across the table. We'd decided to have a family dinner to discuss the wedding plans, but Patricia's behavior at our dinner party was still fresh in everyone's minds. My mother, usually the picture of Midwestern politeness, was uncharacteristically frosty towards Patricia. I must say, I was shocked to hear about your comments regarding Nora's background, she said, her voice tight. Patricia had the grace to look uncomfortable. I assure you, I meant no offense. I was merely concerned about Nora's ability to adapt to our way of life. Our way of life? My father's eyebrows shot up. And what exactly is wrong with the way we raised our daughter? Ben squeezed my hand under the table as I took a deep breath. Patricia, I understand you have concerns, but I assure you I'm more than capable of handling any social situation. Patricia's lips thinned. Oh, darling, you say that now, but you have no idea what you're getting into. The expectations, the scrutiny, it's not for the faint of heart. That's enough, Mother, Ben said, his voice sharp. Nora has shown nothing but grace and poise, despite your constant criticism. Alan cleared his throat. Perhaps we should focus on the wedding plans. Have you two decided on a venue yet? I latched onto the change of subject gratefully. Actually, we were thinking of having it at my family's lake house in Indiana. It's beautiful in the summer and... Indiana, Patricia interrupted, aghast. But darling, what about the country club? All our friends and connections will be expecting an invitation. Ben's jaw clenched. This isn't about your friends, Mom. It's about what Nora and I want. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Benjamin, you need to think about your future. The connections you make at events like this can be crucial for your career. My career is doing just fine without using my wedding as a networking opportunity, Ben snapped. The tension in the room ratcheted up another notch. I could see my parents exchanging worried glances, clearly uncomfortable with the family drama unfolding before them. I think, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, that Ben and I need to make these decisions for ourselves. We appreciate your input, Patricia, but ultimately, this is our wedding. Patricia's face flushed an angry red. You ungrateful girl. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? By turning our son against us? Mom, Ben shouted, standing up so abruptly his chair toppled backward. That's enough. I won't let you speak to Nora that way anymore. The room fell silent, everyone stunned by Ben's outburst. I reached for his hand, trying to calm him, but he was trembling with anger. Ben, Alan said softly, Son, please sit down. Let's discuss this calmly. But Ben shook his head. No, Dad, I'm done discussing. I'm done trying to please you and Mom at the expense of my own happiness. He turned to me, his eyes softening. Nora, I think we need to have a private conversation. Confused and a little scared, I nodded and followed him out of the dining room and into the kitchen. Behind us, I could hear Patricia's indignant sputtering and my parents' attempts to smooth things over. Once we were alone, Ben took both my hands in his. Nora, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch my mother tear you down day after day. My heart raced. What are you saying, Ben? He took a deep breath. I think we need to consider cutting ties with my parents after the wedding, at least until they can learn to respect you, respect us. I gasped, the weight of his words hitting me like a ton of bricks. Ben, that's a huge decision. Are you sure? He nodded, his expression resolute. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. You're my family now, Nora. You're my future, and I won't let anyone, not even my parents, jeopardize that. As I stared into Ben's determined eyes, I realized we were standing at a crossroads. The decision we made now would change everything. Our relationship with his family, our future, maybe even who we were as people. But as the sounds of argument drifted in from the dining room, I knew we had to make a choice. Okay, I whispered, squeezing his hands. If you're sure, then I'm with you. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. Ben pulled me into a tight embrace, and as I buried my face in his chest, I wondered what storm we had just unleashed, and if we were truly ready to weather it. The cafe bustled around us, but Sarah and I might as well have been in our own little bubble. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her hands shaking as she clutched her coffee mug. I can't believe Ben's really considering cutting ties with Mom and Dad, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I reached across the table, squeezing her hand. It's not an easy decision, Sarah, but after everything that's happened... She nodded, a bitter smile twisting her lips. Oh, I know. Believe me, I know better than anyone what Mom's capable of. A chill ran down my spine. What do you mean? Sarah took a deep breath, her eyes darting around as if afraid Patricia might suddenly appear. Remember how I told you Mom never approved of Mark? I nodded, leaning in. Well, it was more than just disapproval. She orchestrated our entire divorce. My jaw dropped. What? How? Sarah's voice cracked as she spoke. She started spreading rumors. Told everyone that Mark was cheating on me with his secretary. It wasn't true, of course, but people believed her. Our friends, our colleagues, suddenly everyone was looking at us differently. I felt sick to my stomach. That's horrible, Sarah. I'm so sorry. She waved off my sympathy. It gets worse. She hired someone to Photoshop images of Mark with other women, sent them to me anonymously. I was devastated, confused. I confronted Mark, and he had no idea what I was talking about. By the time we figured out what was happening, the damage was done. Our trust was shattered. My mind reeled, trying to process the depths of Patricia's cruelty. But why would she do that? Sarah's eyes met mine, filled with a mixture of pain and warning. Because Mark wasn't from the right background, because he threatened her idea of what our family should be. And Nora, she's planning to do the same thing to you. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. What? I overheard her on the phone, Sarah said, her voice urgent. She was talking to one of her society friends, saying how she was going to take care of the Nora problem, just like she did with Mark. She's planning something, Nora. Something big. My heart raced, panic rising in my throat. We have to tell Ben. We have to. Tell me what? We both jumped as Ben appeared at our table, his brow furrowed in concern. Sarah and I exchanged a look, and I knew we couldn't hide this from him. Taking a deep breath, I recounted everything Sarah had just told me. Ben's face grew darker with each word, his hands clenching into fists. When I finished, he was trembling with barely contained rage. I'll kill her, he growled. I'll fucking kill her. Ben, no, I said, grabbing his arm. We can't stoop to her level. Then what do we do? He demanded. Just sit back and let her destroy our relationship like she did Sarah's? Sarah spoke up, her voice stronger now. We fight back, we expose her for who she really is. Just then my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number containing a single image. My blood ran cold as I opened it. It was a photo of me, clearly doctored, in an intimate embrace with a man who wasn't Ben. The accompanying message read, "Such a shame. I wonder what Ben will think when he sees this." My hands shook as I showed Ben and Sarah the message. Ben's face went pale, then flushed with anger. "That's it," he said, his voice deadly calm. "We're done. We're cutting them out completely." "Ben?" I started, but he cut me off. "No, Nora. This ends now. We're getting married in 2 weeks, and my parents won't be there. We'll start our new life without their toxic influence." As Ben pulled out his phone, presumably to call his parents, I exchanged a worried glance with Sarah. This was it, the point of no return. Whatever happened next would change all of our lives forever. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the storm that was about to break. We'd made our choice. Now we had to live with the consequences. The morning of my wedding day dawned bright and clear, but the knot in my stomach had nothing to do with pre-wedding jitters. Ben and I had made our decision. His parents wouldn't be attending. The peace of the last 2 weeks had been hard-won. But now, as I stood in my childhood bedroom, staring at my reflection in my wedding gown, I couldn't shake the feeling that the other shoe was about to drop. Sarah burst into the room, her bridesmaid dress swishing around her legs. "Nora, you look beautiful." Her smile faltered as she saw my expression. "What's wrong?" I shook my head, forcing a smile. "Nothing, just nerves, I guess." Sarah squeezed my hand. "Hey, it's going to be okay. Ben loves you, and that's all that matters." Just then, my phone rang. The caller ID made my blood run cold. Patricia. Sarah's eyes widened. "You don't have to answer that." But I knew I did. With trembling fingers, I picked up the phone. "Hello? Nora, darling." Patricia's voice was syrupy sweet, a stark contrast to her usual clipped tones. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything important." I swallowed hard. "Patricia, it's my wedding day. What do you want?" "Oh, I know, dear. That's why I'm calling. Alan and well, we've been doing some thinking. We realize we may have been a bit harsh in our judgments." My heart raced. Was this really happening? I don't know what to say. "Say you'll tell us where the ceremony is being held. We'd like to be there to support you and Benjamin." For a moment, hope fluttered in my chest. Maybe, just maybe, things could be different. But then I remembered the doctored photo, the cruel words, the pain in Sarah's eyes as she recounted her divorce. "I'm sorry, Patricia," I said, my voice stronger than I felt. "But Ben and I have made our decision. The wedding is family only, and, well, you're not invited." There was a sharp intake of breath on the other end of the line. "Now, you listen here, you ungrateful little—" I ended the call, my hands shaking. Sarah looked at me, her face a mixture of pride and concern. "You did the right thing, Nora." Before I could respond, there was a commotion downstairs. We rushed to the window to see Patricia's sleek black car pulling up in front of the house. "Oh, no," Sarah whispered. She wouldn't. But we both knew she would. Patricia emerged from the car, Alan trailing behind her, looking uncomfortable. "We have to warn Ben," I said, panic rising in my throat. Sarah nodded, already typing furiously on her phone. "I'll tell him. You stay here. Don't let her see you in your dress." I paced the room, my heart pounding as I heard raised voices downstairs. My parents, Ben, Sarah, all trying to reason with Patricia. Suddenly, the door burst open. Patricia stood there, her face flushed with anger. "How dare you exclude us from our own son's wedding?" I straightened my spine, meeting her gaze. "Patricia, please, this is supposed to be a happy day." "Happy?" she spat. "You've turned my son against me. You've ruined everything." "No, Mom." Ben's voice came from behind her. He stepped into the room, his eyes locked on mine. "You did that all on your own." Patricia whirled to face him. "Benjamin, you can't be serious. This girl isn't right for you. She'll never fit into our world." Ben's jaw clenched. "Then maybe it's time I found a new world, one that includes Nora and excludes your toxicity." Patricia's face crumpled, tears welling in her eyes. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. But then I remembered everything she'd done, everything she'd tried to do. "Patricia," I said softly, "I think it's time for you to leave." She looked at me, then at Ben, her eyes wild. "This isn't over," she hissed. "You'll see. You'll both see what a mistake you're making." As Alan gently led Patricia away, I sagged against Ben, the weight of everything finally hitting me. "Are we doing the right thing?" I whispered. Ben tilted my chin up, his eyes filled with love and determination. "Absolutely. Now, what do you say we go get married?" As we walked hand in hand towards our future, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we'd face them together. The war with Patricia might not be over, but today, Love had won the battle. The shrill ring of my phone pierced the peaceful morning air of our honeymoon suite. Ben stirred beside me, but I quickly silenced it, recognizing the number. Patricia, again. For a moment I considered ignoring it, as I had for the past week, but something inside me snapped. Enough was enough. "Hello, Patricia," I answered, my voice steady. "Nora, darling," she cooed, her tone dripping with false sweetness. "I hope I'm not interrupting your little getaway." I sat up straighter, steeling myself. "What do you want, Patricia?" "Oh, I just thought we should chat woman to woman. You see, I've been thinking about our little misunderstanding." I almost laughed. "Misunderstanding? Is that what you call trying to sabotage our relationship?" Now, she'd skied. "Let's not dwell on the past. I'm willing to let bygones be bygones if you are. All you need to do is convince Benjamin to reconcile with us. After all, family is everything, isn't it?" The audacity of her request made my blood boil. "Family? You tried to destroy your own daughter's marriage. You sent fake photos to break us up. That's not family, Patricia. That's manipulation." "You ungrateful little," she started, but I cut her off. "No, you listen to me now," I said, my voice low and firm. "I've had enough of your games, your insults, your thinly veiled contempt for my quaint Midwestern background." "Well, you never what? Never thought I'd stand up to you? Never imagined I might have a backbone?" I took a deep breath, years of pent-up frustration pouring out. "You know what, Patricia? I may be from the Midwest, but my family's company is one of the largest agricultural suppliers in the country. That little lake house where we got married? It's part of a 500-acre estate that's been in my family for generations." There was stunned silence on the other end of the line. "But you know what?" I continued. "None of that matters. What matters is that Ben and I love each other. We support each other, and we don't need your approval or your toxic presence in our lives." You can't just cut us out," Patricia sputtered. "We're his parents." "You're right, you are his parents, but that doesn't give you the right to control his life or belittle his choices. Ben has made his decision, and I stand by him. If you ever want to be part of our lives again, you need to take a long, hard look at your behavior and make some serious changes." I could hear Patricia's ragged breathing on the other end of the line. When she spoke again, her voice was small, almost broken. I don't know how. For a moment, I felt a flicker of pity. "Start by apologizing. To Ben, to Sarah, to Mark. Seek therapy. Learn to respect boundaries. It won't be easy, but if you truly want to be part of our lives, that's what it will take." There was a long pause. I'll think about it," she finally said, before hanging up. I sat there, phone in hand, feeling like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. Ben stirred beside me, his eyes full of concern and love. "Was that my mother?" he asked softly. I nodded, recounting the conversation. When I finished, Ben pulled me into a tight embrace. "I'm so proud of you," he whispered. "You stood your ground, but you also left the door open. That's more than she deserves." I leaned into his warmth, feeling a sense of peace wash over me. "Do you think she'll change?" Ben sighed. "I don't know, but what I do know is that we're stronger together. Whatever happens, we'll face it as a team." As we lay there, the morning sun streaming through the windows, I realized that this was the true happy ending. Not a fairy tale where all conflicts magically resolve, but a real, messy, beautiful life where we choose each other every day. Patricia might never change. She might never be the mother-in-law I'd hoped for. But that was okay, because I had Ben and Sarah and a whole new family that accepted and loved me for who I was. And in the end, that was all that mattered.